Evan, thank you, and good evening, everyone. Evan, you'll be happy to know that tonight I was reading the BuzzFeed article entitled 22 Ways Your Cat Acts Like Joe Biden. I mean, who said that hard-hitting journalism is dead? Anyways, it's great to be here with all of you. There was a time not too long ago when I didn't always say that to a room of reporters, unless, of course, they were Bloomberg reporters. And it is great to see we've got representatives here from all kinds of news organizations, Bloomberg Politics, BGov, Bloomberg Bureau of National Affairs, and, of course, the First Word team in the incoming President's Club, John Hughes. Is there anyone here who's not part of the Bloomberg or the Hughes family? Anyways. Now, John told me that this would be a friendly audience, and I said, okay, but given the recent threat that was made against Speaker Boehner by a bartender, I have asked John to be my drink tester tonight. Sorry, John. Actually, this is true. When I was at City Hall, I did have a taster, a trans fat taster. For the record, he died of a heart attack. Now, I have been out of office for a year, and it has been great. For one thing, I really do sleep better. There are no more of those 3 a.m. phone calls when someone who is frantic about a critical emergency calls. But in those situations, I just told Arthur Salzberger that he'd have to get somebody else to purchase the Times and went back to sleep. Actually, when people ask me if I'm interested in buying the Times, I tell them that, yes, I am. I buy it every single day. I really like reading a newspaper that puts its editorials on the front page. And I am glad that Arthur found Carlos slim. I look forward to reading more about the coverage of Mexico's highly successful tax on sugary drinks. Now, I do know that a lot of people say print is dead, but I think they're wrong. You can call me old-fashioned, but I will always have my newspapers delivered to my front door. And I look forward to tipping the drone that starts delivering the Washington Post. Seriously, technology is really revolutionizing the industry in ways that I think are both good and bad. On one hand, there is more content produced than ever, and people do have more choices than ever. But on the other hand, there is less quality control than ever, and that can leave us with more noise than news. And also, when you have an enormous quantity, it's very hard to find out what is important in it. And I think that is one of the things that unfortunately is happening to us with so many sources. It really is almost impossible to find out what you need to know. Journalism has always been sensationalized, and we certainly do that with modern media. Thomas Jefferson once said that the advertisements contain the only truths to be relied on in a newspaper. And that's just another reason to be concerned about the current decline in newspaper ads. A century after Jefferson, just remember this, William Randolph Hearst famously told one of his illustrators in Cuba, "You furnish the picture and I will furnish the war." And to show you that the more things change, the more they stay the same, more than a century after Hearst, one of our leading newspapers furnished the articles on weapons of mass destruction that helped provide the justification for war in Iraq. So just think about who that was. There's always been pressure to sensationalize journalism, and as Adlai Stevenson reported, newspaper editors are people who separate the wheat from the chaff, and then they print the chaff. That's what Adlai said, not to me, but I read it in the paper. It must be right. Seriously, for the public, separating the wheat from the chaff or the noise from the news has never been easy, and it is especially difficult with social media. Twitter and Facebook and my favorite, Snapchat, can be a great ways to share information and stay in touch with friends and family. And when I want to see what my grandson looks like, I check my daughter's Instagram feed. Now, it is true it took me 3 weeks to convince Georgina to let me follow her, but that's a whole separate issue, and it didn't happen until she needed something. And if you have daughters, you will know exactly what I mean. Social media, however, is a great tool for staying connected, but I do not think that it is a great forum for conducting thoughtful political debate. It's hard to construct a reasonable argument in 140 characters, and so you end up with a lot of shouting and not a lot of listening. And I think that we would be a lot better off if we listen to each other and we talk to each other face to face, and especially to people that we disagree with. When conservatives watch Fox News and liberals watch MSNBC, it's no wonder that people here in Washington talk past one another. It would be nice to imagine Sean Hannity and Rachel Maddow having a serious tete-a-tete. They're both smart people, and if they really tried to work together, just think we actually might learn something and actually might have better government. Incidentally, I do have a solution to this problem, and that is that everyone should watch and listen to Bloomberg, but that's purely... It's not an ad. Now, you can argue that the public has become more polarized because of the media, or you can argue that the media has become more polarized because of the public. And I think actually it's a little bit of both. But the fact remains that the public trust in media is now today at an all-time low. And that's a real challenge for our industry, and it's also an opportunity. I've always believed that the public will demand and pay for quality journalism. And that's why Bloomberg has been increasing our news and media divisions, even as others are downsizing. And I couldn't be more excited that John Micklethwaite from The Economist is coming over and taking over the editor of Bloomberg. And we think the future of our media properties is very bright. And I think we all have an obligation to inform the world in a fair, non-biased way that tries to present the facts and help people make informed decisions. The fact is that the Fourth Estate plays a vitally important role in our society, and I think too many people have forgotten that and just worried about the profitability of the Fourth Estate. We have to make money, we have to pay our people. There's nothing wrong with rewarding your stockholders, but you do have to focus on quality journalism at all costs, or you really have nothing. Now, we count on you, the people in this room and the people you represent, to investigate wrongdoing, hold public officials accountable, and offer opinions of every kind, even if some people find those opinions offensive. A free press really does lie at the heart of a free society, or to quote Jefferson again, our liberty depends on the freedom of the press, and that cannot be limited without being lost. The recent assassination of journalists in Paris was an attack not only on the free press, it was an attack on the liberty that lit the French and American revolutions, and that has been such a powerful and inspiring force for global progress. Bloomberg has always, I think, been a staunch defender of the rights of the free press. I've always been a big supporter of the Committee to Protect Journalists. I did give all of the royalties from Bloomberg by Bloomberg to that committee. If you look at their budget, it turned out that that was not the thing that made a difference in their being able to pay their people. Someone once said the rarest book in the world is an unautographed copy of Bloomberg by Bloomberg, but that's neither here nor... That's just people who are a little bit jealous of it. Seriously, no matter how offensive someone's views are, a free society must always protect the right to express them and publish them freely. Censorship, no matter how well-intentioned, always backfires, and the freedom of the press is again called into question. When that happens, we cannot shrink from the challenge of defending it. And the National Press Club, as much as anybody, has provided a forum for civil discourse, and luckily I think you have found the right guy to lead it this year, Bloomberg's own John Hughes. Now, let me tell you, he is a fantastic reporter and editor, and we're lucky to have him at Bloomberg. He's also a perfect fit for First Word, our real-time news service for clients, because he is very competitive and always wants to be first, and that's what he should do. In fact, earlier this evening, he asked me whether he could speak before me tonight. Sorry, John, you may be the new president, but I'm still the boss. So tonight, for once, you'll just have to be the second word. Just pretend you work for Reuters or Politico. Now, before we swear him in, let me also say, John is a very generous guy, something we really appreciate and encourage at the company. He's been active in our Bloomberg service program here in DC, and I know he's especially passionate about his work for the Soldiers' Home historic site. John has also had great respect for this club and has come to stand for what it stands for the last century. He knows that he will have to do an excellent job, and I think he will, and so will all the other officers elected to serve this year, including the club's secretary, Bloomberg's own Andrea Snyder. Andrea, congratulations. And now it is time to swear in the new president, which is why I came here tonight. Now, usually you perform an oath over the Holy Bible, or at least that has been my experience. But I'm sure that for John, no text is holier than this one, Bloomberg by Bloomberg. So John, come on up here. Now, we're going to have the family up here as well. Absolutely. Okay. Now, you're going to hold the book? Teddy the son is going to hold the book. Do you tweet with your left hand or your right hand? Okay, well, that hand, put that on the holy book, on the sacred text. And repeat after me. I, John Hughes. Come on, you can get in the pictures here. Yeah, you can hand this to him. Who knows?
Check. Yep.
Okay. I, John Hughes.
I, John Hughes.
An editor of Bloomberg First Word.
An editor of Bloomberg First Word.
And not the director of Pretty in Pink and the Breakfast Club.
And not the director of Pretty in Pink and the Breakfast Club.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
To be a great president of the press club.
To be a great president of the press club.
To let Bloomberg reporters cut to the front of the line on Taco Fridays.
Absolutely. Let Bloomberg reporters cut to the front of the line on Free Taco Fridays.
And to personally continue reporting on the major issues of our time.
And to personally continue reporting on the major issues of our time.
To all readers, regardless of background, nationality, or beliefs.
To all readers, regardless of background, nationality, or beliefs.
Or at least to those willing to shell out for a Bloomberg terminal.
Or at least those willing to shell out for a Bloomberg terminal.
So help me, Mike.
So help me, Mike.
Congratulations. John, on behalf of everyone in the company, have a fantastic year.